Today in the Galveston-Houston Diocese, the Spiritans are continuing the dedication of the founder. One of the biggest challenges facing the Spiritans is the need to outreach to the missions. Undertaking mission appeals is one of Father Michael BEGLLY's roles. A challenge and another way Spiritans are presenting themselves to the world.
What we seek to achieve is to, first of all, coordinate the mission appeals of the U.S. province. And this means that we would visit at least 40 parishes every year, and which might involve 30 priests, missionaries, and to present our message in a face-to-face way. We try to link people in with benefactors. Sometimes it's an individual, other times it could be a parish group, or it might be a small organization. And our idea there is to work with people who wish to help in a particular way, maybe even a particular project. And one example of that is our interaction with the Vietnamese community here in Houston and in California. And they, over the years now, have been helping us to support our training, our formation program in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. And it's a good example of how local people can do something very practical by giving small contributions over a year and beyond.
On a visit to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Bruce Wilkinson encountered Spiritans who had identified the need for a school. He decided to help.
I'd been thinking about it, so I decided I was going to help them build the school. And so I told my wife, when I got home, sit down and get ready, but we're going to build a school in Africa, and you got to go with me on this one. And that's literally what I did. And to her credit, she said, well, if that's the way you feel about it, that's what we're going to do. It's easy sometimes to think charitably because you give money to a cause or it's a worthy cause. But when you see people living their life in that mission, it's a whole different thing. I recognize I'm just one person and there's so many needs. I had always hoped that this school would provide excellence in teaching, and after this is a so-called English primary school, which would go through about our 6th or 7th grade, from K through there. And so my hope was that we would begin, that there would be certain graduates at the end who were good enough students that then if we had a scholarship fund, they could go to another school. And in other words, that out of this dreadful environment, very few who rose to the top would make it out and then would somehow or another make a difference in that country or in their community.
My role is to help coordinate the mission projects. So what happens is we have Spiritans in multiple countries that are contacting us looking for funding for projects, and they can be very diverse. It ranges from water wells or capturing water coming off of roofs and so forth in these very dry arid areas, and can go all the way up to building a high school where they have a request for funding. So that means that we provide technical service to that priest on how best to formulate an application for funding so that his chances of funding that project are better than they might be otherwise. We direct them to certain foundations, and then we also assist in providing the money locally. So as an example, we have about 45 projects that are working right now. They're at different stages, and countries all over Africa, in Asia, and South America.
We have a great sense of functioning in a transboundary manner. And in a similar way that astronauts nowadays travel into space, and encounter new frontiers. We do so all the time. We cross the boundaries of culture, the barriers of language, we cross the impediments of different sociocultural worlds and economic conditions where we encounter people.
The Spiritans have connections in surprising places. One of those is here in Space City. The Astronauts Chapel is located at St. Paul's Church in the original housing complex for early astronauts.
It's here at St. Paul of the Apostle Church. This is the church where the original astronauts here in Houston and all of the engineers first formed their faith family and brought the Catholic Church here to the area.
I have found there is some faith structure, there is some faith-based kind of thing going on with all of them, and you know, some more active than others. But I think this idea that science and religion and being a person of faith don't mix is very wrong. I think there's no way, at least in my mind, there's no way you can do the kinds of things we do, experience the kinds of things that we experience, whether it's in the swimming pool at the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, looking at that, that masterpiece of a space station in a pool, and then having the opportunity to see it in space, or to look at our planet in space, or to see, the universe around us, and to be considering that and not feel like there's some greater power there.
One of the things that strikes me about engineers and astronauts and other professionals working with NASA is that they're prepared to work in collaboration and in partnership with others. Because nowadays, space exploration is very much a partnership enterprise between and across countries, and also across disciplines. So there's very much a multidisciplinary input into every flight plan. And so there are all sorts of people making a valuable contribution to make this a success. Astronauts achieve something very beautiful and wonderful on behalf of the scientific and exploratory community, and likewise we Spiritans can do something special for underprivileged and disinherited peoples if we too work in the same spirit, the spirit of crossing frontiers that inhibit people's futures.
We're deeply grateful for the religious communities who are here, who have become a vital and integral part of the church here locally, like the Spiritan Fathers. And their help here is enormous, and we're just deeply, deeply grateful for their ministry here and their willingness to help us face these very serious challenges that we have.
While a lot of the mission of the Spiritans is to go out and to work in Africa with the very poor, another thing that they talk about is reaching out to people. And Father Nesti's organization, reaching out to people, figuring out where faith and culture go together. It's in those critical moments that we must rely on one another and one another's expertise the most.
Spiritans, lay associates, donors, and those who give to the mission appeals, they are all one family in Christ. Spiritans bring a commitment to their congregation, making sure that all people are welcomed and loved.